Quick sidebar, I can't start this review without thanking you guys for the crazy support on the Hunger Games review. Y'all are insane. I appreciate the support, all the comments, likes, subs, everything. Thank you. I'll try to be more consistent going forward because I know I've been going for like a month. Wishful thinking, I'll try to be more consistent. But once again, thank you for the support. It was crazy, but I know that's not why most clicked on this video. So back to the regularly scheduled programming. Can't lie to you beautiful people, I did not expect to like this movie. And most of the reason why comes from the fact that I just had little faith in Chalamet to give the silliness needed to capture a young Wonka. Not to say he's a bad actor, quite the contrary actually, but most of his performance as of late were basically the opposite of what this called for. But man, I have never been prouder to doubt an actor's capabilities. Last time I did that was when Gal Gadot was cast as Wonder Woman, in which she actually was serviceable. It's just too bad that she's god-awful and everything else and performs as wooden as plank-wearing Oakleys laying on top of a piece of paper on a park bench underneath an oak tree. But back to the topic of the video. This movie is probably the most feel-good movie I've seen this year. It gives me the same vibes that Pixar classics give, like Finding Nemo and such, that have this charm that can easily entertain a kid, but also offers enough to chew on for adults at any age. And yes, I know throwing Pixar greats in the same category of the third Willy Wonka installment is a bold assessment, but it isn't without good reason. Now let's break down what this movie is exactly. To put it simply, it's a musical telling the rags to riches story of a magician slash candy maker. Pretty simple. Now to put it less simply, it's a narrative that explores the ideology of following your dreams and living your life how you best see fit. Sprinkled in with some other themes like big corporation bad, the pull and push of trusting the fellow man, and they even explore grief in this movie, albeit for a brief moment, but still, it's there, and it was handled very well for a happy-go-lucky movie like this. This movie basically covers Wonka's life right after he perfected his candy making craft and ends on him becoming the legend that he is in this world. In this film, he arrives in this town where the three major chocolate companies reside and pretty much have a three-headed snake monopoly on the candy industry. He tries to approach everything under the mind frame that everyone is nice and trustworthy as him, which, as you might guess, does not work out. So he ends up locked up at this shady hotel that gets desperate people to sign shady contracts that makes them essentially sign lifetime labor contracts just to be able to have a less than decent place to sleep. People forced into a lifetime labor just to be able to have a not even nice place to stay. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it. But anywho's, afterwards he comes up with a plan with the fellow hotel dwellers to sneak out and sell his candy so he can get them all out and have a better life than their current situation, all while having the three-headed snake trying to stop them. Having to start your own thing from the ground up just to be able to live the life you want, while also having the deck stacked against you. That also sounds oddly familiar. I don't know, maybe it's nothing. At the end, the good guys win, shocking, and the major plot points that you may have wanted answered, they do get their solution, and then some. And we end on him having his factory, which may or may not lead to a part 2. I'm not sure, honestly. The Wonka IP could go dormant for another 10 plus years, and I'll be just fine with what we have. In fact, I might actually prefer that. Let Chalamet age up and become even bigger than he is now, and give us his Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, which will probably crush the box office if he continues on the trajectory he's on now. So as far as key takeaways from the movie, I think my biggest compliment would just be the performances overall. Everybody felt like they were given 110%, and it's always nice to have villains in movies like this feel like they're having fun with it, which was the case for all the parties involved. The standout to me being Chalamet, like I spoke on at the beginning. I just can't get over how much he really pulled a young Wonka in the fashion that he did. Like, I know he's a top tier actor, one of the best in his age range, and I like a lot of his work, but this movie put him in my personal category of I'll watch whatever they're in tier, which I assume is an exclusive tier for a lot of people, including myself. I think I only have like 6 people in that tier, but he was able to notch himself into that tier for me personally. I'm not sure how everybody else feels about him. I know he's in high regard with a lot of people, but I do know when somebody is as popular as him, obviously there's going to be another crowd that doesn't think he is as good as people make him out to be, which is perfectly fine. Everything is subjective, at least art. Everything in art is subjective, at least that's what I say. This movie is also very easy on the eyes though. There's a lot of color going here, especially as the movie goes on, and even when there's not, it still looks nice. There's this one shot that I can't find because it's not on VOD yet. It's not on Netflix, Amazon, or anything yet, so I can't like pull it out because, you know, it's just not there. It's not in the trailers or anything. But it's Wonka in this pitch black shot, and it's showing his side profile, but only the outline of his side profile is picked up, and it just looked really cool to me. I just had to bring it up. I know that has nothing to do with nothing. I just thought it was a really cool shot. If you've seen the movie, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen the movie yet, and then you watch the movie after seeing this, you're gonna know exactly what I mean when I say this shot pops up. It's like one of the coolest shots I've seen this year. As far as just like visually, it was just like, okay, that's just a dope shot. Now onto the humor. A lot of it in this movie is very tongue-in-cheek, which got a few smirks out of me, but I don't think this is a movie that'll have you falling over in laughter. There are 1 or 2 jokes in there that was legitimately funny though. Like, I'm talking like I audibly laughed, and I'm dead inside. Now, I think I went on long enough on a musical movie review without talking about the music. To start, let me say I'm not a musical savant at all, so take this opinion at your own discretion. I like the songs. My favorite being Scrub Scrub, that was a bop, but overall the numbers were very entertaining. I also think Timothée did a pretty good Pure Imagination, or I guess, you know, his rendition of it. I know that song is sacred to some, but if you want my 2 cents, Young Shally definitely did it justice. It never felt like they dragged on for too long, and they showed up at the appropriate times. It never felt like a song got away from the plot. In fact, that they were often used to wrap up whatever moment was being shown on screen, which is often the right approach in my opinion. Like I said, I'm not a musical savant, so, you know, take these with a grain of salt. Now, if there's a criticism to be had for me personally, I wish we would have gotten more Oompa Loompa interaction. And yes, I understand that's more of a preference thing, and I get that in lore the Oompa Loompas only became more vital when the factory came about. But even if there is a part 2, they make it seem like only the one Willy was beefing with is going to be around for a maybe sequel. Also, for a movie where homeboy's making candy with storms and sunshine trapped in bottles and making candy that lets people fly, not believing that an orange man with green hair is following him is a bit of a come on really type of thing. It's almost like when a sci-fi alien movie has that moment where the main actor says something like he saw one of the aliens shapeshift and all the other people around him were like, nah, that's not possible. Like, fam, there are aliens at your doorstep around you, but them shape-shifting is somehow not believable to you. Also, I recognize that it may come across that I may just be a bit gullible, but number 1, fuck you, you're not my therapist. And number 2, it's just a trope in movies I've always hated, so it being in this movie makes my heart a bit sad. I always kind of hated that whole, like, crazy things are happening, but this one specific crazy thing, no way that's also possible. It's like, come on. Like, really? So all in all, this movie is a top tier film. Even if you're not a musical person, I think you should still make an effort to see it in theaters. It is that good to me. It's definitely a theater experience type of movie. I think it has some of the best storytelling I've seen this year, some of the most passionate performances, some of the best original songs, some of the best visuals, because it is just straight up a beautiful movie to look at. And grade rating, let's go with let's get an A. It's gonna give it a solid A. If I was a musical lover, it would get an easy A+, but I'm not, so it's not. But even with that, the fact that I'm not a musical person and I gave this movie an A, I think should say a lot. But who knows, maybe the musical community is thrashing this film. I'm not sure how to even get on that side of social media, so if you happen to be there, let me know. I'm genuinely curious to see how the reception is on that side. And even if you aren't on that side, still let me know how you feel about this movie. I know I took a long hiatus. I did want to come back and review just a small little movie I seen that I thought was really fun, even though this is a small movie. This is Willy Wonka with Timothée Chalamet. It's a big movie, but I wanted to come back and just talk about a movie that I really loved after tackling the Hunger Games franchise. So I do read all the comments though, by the way, even the mean ones. Shout out to y'all. But until the next one, which I plan, don't take my word for it. I plan to have 2 more videos out. One is going to be multiple movies. I don't want to spoil it, and the other one is going to be a single movie. So I do have 2 reviews I plan to put out before the new year, but we will see how that goes. I'm not sure what my holiday plans are yet. I'm kind of down to the wire with it, so, you know, here's hoping. But until my next video, peace and light, and remember to eat your veggies.